Alright, so for this review, there is a test Wednesday. So to start with, on number 1, find the value of x for which m is parallel to n. So this would be your transversal, and these would be alternate exterior, which are congruent. So then you set them equal. And from there you want to solve, so you want to subtract 3x. So you have x minus 28 equal 12, and add 28 so you get 40. So if you have two lines that are parallel, then alternate exterior would be equal. So we basically had to find the value of x to make them equal. Any questions? Okay, number 2. On this one, you're given certain pieces of information, and we basically just want to draw it. A and B. That says they're parallel, so I'm going to mark them. B parallel to C. I'll mark that with 2 marks. Then it also says C perpendicular to D, and so I'm going to put the D line right there. So your first step on that would just be draw it. We have A parallel to B, B parallel to C, and we have D perpendicular to C. So what it's asking about is about how A and D relate, and it's 2 of them say parallel, 2 of them say perpendicular. From the drawing, you should be able to figure out it's perpendicular, and so it's not A or C. Now, for the other part, you just need to read through it. It says because A is perpendicular to C, but that's false because they're parallel. And this says because A is parallel to C and C is perpendicular to D, which is true. So 2 is D. Any questions? All right. Next we have a flow proof. It says 1 and 3 are supplementary, and prove A is parallel to B. So here's a hint about this one. Well, of course it says a 1, which means it's multiple choice. And my hint would be if it has a down arrow and it's saying 1 and 2 are supplementary, then it would be about angle 1 and 2 here. So 1 and 2 form a linear pair. So you can get it from that way or from just looking at it, because if it's a straight line, that's a linear pair. So that's that choice. Now, just continuing on the left side, it's number 4, but I'm going to do this one first. It says they're supplementary, so that would either have to do with a linear pair being supplementary or a definition of supplementary. And supplementary or always linear pair is false. It's the other way around. Angles that form a linear pair are supplementary. So that's going to be your third choice. So now on this side, we have 1 and 3 are supplementary, which is from given. Then it says supplements of the same angle are congruent. So if we have 1 and 2 supplementary and 1 and 3 supplementary, then think about the 1's canceling, and so we have 2 equal 3. It's not the one with equal 90. So it's this one. So it's just 2 congruent to 3. And then you look at what type angle 2 and 3 are, and they're corresponding. And so then it's the one about if corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. Any questions? Okay, number 4, it's talking about angle 1 and 9, so I'm going to circle them, and I'll darken the transversal. That's marked as transversal T. So if that's the transversal, then it's going to be this line and this line, so N parallel to M. And the type of angle is corresponding. Bless you, because you got one exterior, one interior. Now don't get thrown off by it being a checkbox and saying select all that apply, because there's only one answer. So you can't say B is parallel to M, well, at all. And A and B look parallel, but it would have to do with 2 and 7 being alternate interior, or 1 and 3 being corresponding. Some sort of different combination. Maybe like 1 and 8 alternate exterior. But just based on 1 and 9, there's only one answer. I know on Math Excel some people try to put more than one. The next one, you add up your angles in the triangle to 180. So x plus x minus 20 plus 3x plus 15 equal 180. And from there you want to combine your like terms on the left side. X and x is 2x, and 3 makes 5x. Then you have negative 20 plus 15. If you need to use your calculator for that, it's going to be negative 5. So basically your bigger number is negative, so it's a negative answer. Okay, so this minus 5 equal 180. From there you want to add 5, so you get 5x is 185, and then divide. And that gives you 37. What's a little unique about this one is x is the same thing as the R answer. So right now you know 2 of your blanks. To get P, you just do 37 minus 20. So you get 17. And to get Q, you do 3 times 17 plus 15. And so you get 66. Sorry, 37. My bad. Thank you. So based on that typo, I'm going to go to here, and then I'm going to change it. Yeah, 126. And to check your answer, you can do 17 plus 126 plus 37. And that's, oops, I did a times sign. Let's try one more time. There we go. 17 plus 126 plus 37 is 180. So that's your check. Any questions about that? So just remember, angles inside the triangle add up to 180. Okay, on this one, this is from your parallel and perpendicular lesson. It's talking about a ladder, and you got sides of the ladder, and you got rungs, which are the steps. What you're given is rungs are parallel, and the top one is perpendicular to one side. So if your rungs are parallel, and the top one's perpendicular to the side, then all of them are going to be perpendicular. So this says all are perpendicular, this says all are parallel for these two, and this says all are perpendicular. So at this point, we know it's either A or D. Now, looking at this says two lines parallel to a third line theorem, which is not really a thing. There's a transitive property of parallel lines, but that's not really true. And so using the perpendicular transversal theorem, okay, we've heard of that, and the fact that the side is a transversal perpendicular to the top and all are parallel, then all are perpendicular. So that's going to be D. Any questions? Okay. This one's talking about 3 and 10. They're not corresponding, they're not alternate exterior, they're not even on the same transversal. So not enough information. So that one's E. So not enough information on 7. Because they're not on the same transversal. N is not your transversal, S is not your transversal, because they're not touching that. Number 8, 1 and 8. So this one would be your transversal. And so it'd be A parallel to B. And then you look at what type they are. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they're both exterior because it's above A and below B. So alternate exterior. So again, remember to look at your types of angles. Corresponding alternate interior and exterior are equal, and the supplementary ones are the linear pair and the same side interior and exterior. Okay, number 9. On this one, they are alternate interior, and because the lines are parallel, they're congruent, so set them equal. So when you add those, you get 122. Then you need to divide, and so you get 61. Any questions about that? Okay. on this one, a ramp forms the angles shown. You've got a 90-degree angle and a 71. So add those together to give you A. So that's your first step. And then to get B, you do 180 minus 161 and you get 19. Remember that these would be considered your remote interior and the A is your exterior. So remember your theorem is add the two remote interior and your answer is your exterior. Any questions? Okay. Next we have corresponding angles based on where they are. And corresponding angles are congruent when lines are parallel. So we have 81 minus 2x equal 97 minus 3x. And you can add 3x. There's different ways to solve it. It doesn't matter how you do it. But I'm trying to get a positive x. And then I subtract 81. So I get 16. If you wanted to do it just by graphing, you can. You just have to adjust your window a little bit. (81 minus 2x) and 97 minus 3x. So I can't see either graph. They're in the 70s basically for this one, and in the 90s for this one. So I know based on that I could adjust my y maximum. Another thing I could do is I could compare where they're the same number. Okay, so for F2 I get 49, and for F1 I get 49. So you can do it that way in the table. Problem with that is sometimes they're decimals, so you may not want to do it that way. The other way we could do it is just adjust this to be like 100. And so now you can see the lines, and make this like 30. Now that's considered a good graphing window, and then we'd analyze the graph. So first you hit menu, analyze the graph as number 6. Okay, and we want to find the point of intersection, which is number 4. 4 is intersection. And then he says lower bound, so that's just the left side, so I'm just moving it, click, and the right side, 16, 49. So your X answer is what you want. So it's 16, 49 by graphing. So we care about the X. So, of course, that's another approach if you don't like solving it this way. It just takes a little more time sometimes. The next part you got to do is plug it in. And 81 minus 2 times 16 and 97 minus 3 times 16. Now, if you did it this way, you already know you should get 49 if you did it by graphing. So Make sure on this that you don't do 81 minus 2 first and get 79, because you're multiplying, and multiplying is a higher priority than subtraction. So you should get 49 for that, and for that one. And again, you know you did it right if you have the same answer, since in this case they're equal. If they were same side interior, then you would have to say this one plus this one equal 180 to check it. Any questions? Okay, so on this one, they've got some of your angles with 3 letters and some with 1. E, F, D is the same as lowercase e, but that's not your answer. Don't put that as your answer. I'm just making a note of it. E, H, F is the same as the C. H, F, G is the same as the B. Okay, so my first step would be, if you see this is a box with 90 degrees, then E would also have to be 90 because they make a straight line. So this is 90 degrees. And then another thing we can get rather easily is this. If you set it up like real official, it's C plus 54 equal 180. Or you can just say 180 minus 54. And you get 126. So 126 is this answer. So that's from a linear pair, because this one plus this one. Linear pair. Any questions up to this point? Okay, so now I'm going to write this in, and now there's a couple of different ones we have to get. One of them's B. Okay, so if we've got 90 there and we've got 33 there, we should do 90 minus 33 to get 67, and that's B. So those two angles are complementary. So you get your 67. Uh, 57. 57, my bad. Okay, now we're trying to get angle G. And so there's two ways. One is from doing 126 minus 67. Yeah, I really do mean 67 right there. And I get 59. So that's one way to get it. I put A and 59. The other way to get it is to add two angles in the triangle, like 67 plus 54. We get 121, and then do 180 minus 121. And I get 59. So you should get answers that are, you know, the same regardless of how you do it. So it's 59 degrees. Okay. Now we need E, which is over here. One way to do it is 54 minus 33. And so it's 21. The other way to do it, to check your answer, is 126 plus the 33, which gives you 159, and then 180 minus 159 is 21. So again, your answers should all correspond to each other, because the angles in this triangle add up to 180. Same thing with this. And your big one also. 59 and 21 adds up to 90, and then 90 more. So there's different ways to check your answer. Any questions? Okay. The next one says, what segments are parallel? So this is your transversal because it touches both of the 43s. And so it's got to be this one with this one, MH and DE. And those are corresponding. It's converse of corresponding. So basically you have this angle, you're skipping that and going to this one. You've got one exterior and one interior. Any questions? Okay. The next one, which sides of the quadrilateral must be parallel, and explain. Now remember, when we're doing this, they need to be in this order, like either clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm going to do clockwise on mine. So A is 54 and B is 41. And then C is 139. And D is 126. So it appears like this is a trapezoid. Let's check our math. Do 126 plus 54 and do 139 plus 41. So this gives you 180, and so does this. So these are same side interior, and so these would be your parallel lines. So CD and AB, and it's same side interior. Any questions? Okay. Number 15. The map is given. A is perpendicular to B. B is perpendicular to C. C is perpendicular to D. And so then it wants to know about A and D, which would also be perpendicular. So you can cross out the ones that say parallel. Now just read through the rest of the paragraph and see what makes sense. This one says D perpendicular to C. This says D perpendicular to one of two parallel streets. Let's see. What about D and B are perpendicular because they're both parallel to A? No, that doesn't make sense because D and B are parallel. And so it's not that one. It says A and C are parallel because they're both perpendicular to B, which is true. And if D is perpendicular to one of them, then it's perpendicular to both. So that is going to be our answer. So 15 is B. Any questions? Okay, number 16. A is perpendicular to B and B is perpendicular to C, so is it perpendicular or parallel? Just by looking, it looks parallel. Think about your B's canceling. Whoops, C right there. Because any two that are perpendicular, because you see both of these have the perpendicular symbol. If they're perpendicular to the same line, are parallel to each other. It's also given that C is parallel to D, so A is parallel to D because any two lines that are parallel to the same line are parallel to each other. So both of these are parallel. Just watch out for the position of it because it's random as to what's on top, parallel or perpendicular. Okay, so that's number 16. Number 17, proof of the triangle exterior angle theorem. You're given this triangle with one being exterior. You want to prove that these, like 1 is equal to 2 plus 3. So the first step is 1 is exterior, and that's given. And then this is about 1 and 4 equal to 180. So that's this, which is a linear pair. It's a linear pair, but out of that choice, it's vertical, complementary, straight and angle addition. Straight and angle addition. So that's this choice. It's a little unusual to me that they don't have linear pair listed, but straight is a 180 and then angle addition, so it kind of makes sense still. So that's the one you need for that choice. Then they're saying triangle angle sum theorem, so it must be about the angles adding up to 180 that are inside. And so that's this one. Now they have, this is angle 2 plus angle 3 plus angle 4 equal 180. So basically, think about your 180s canceling, and they're setting 1 and 4 equal to this. So I'd think that'd either be transitive or substitution. And it's substitution. Since transitive is not listed. could have been transitive because of the 180. You know, if one of them's equal to 180 and the other's equal to 180, then, you know, they're equal to each other. Okay, so the next part, what they're doing is they're subtracting angle 4 from both. So this is subtraction. So that's 4. Any questions? Okay, then on this one, again, they're in corresponding position. And so we have 60 minus 6x equal 200 minus 46x. What I want to do is end up with a positive x term, so I'm going to add 46x. So 60 plus 40x equal 200. So 200 minus 60 is 140, and then divide by 40. $140 divided by 40, enter, that's 7 halves, but they want you to do a decimal in this case, which is 3.5. The directions say integer or decimal, so if it said fraction, it'd be 7 halves, but 3.5 is your decimal. So make sure you always follow directions on here if it's graded electronically, like MathXL. The next thing is angle 1 equal, and you're going to say 60 minus 6 times 3.5. And you get 39. And 200 minus 46 times 3.5 is also 39. So that's how you know you did it right. Any questions? I'm going to stop right there. We're going to continue with this video tomorrow.